Good evening. This is Maestro Critello with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite modcast. Today, we have a 1v1 on Pale-Tooth Gorge. Our first player is Virus Cheah18, playing as the Lord General. The Lord General is a support hero. He's the only hero who is a squad. He's got these Stormtrooper retinue members that can actually reinforce out on the field, which gives him quite a bit of staying power. And he's got a bunch of war gears that give him abilities that can buff his troops. Look at that cigar in his mouth. Next up, we've got Cheekie Monkie playing as the Apothecary, walking through this brush right here. A little hard to target properly, but the Apothecary is a healing commander. He has a targeted heal that he can use on a single squad. He has a passive heal aura, and as well as an even better active heal aura later on in the game. Not too powerful as a fighter, but his healing capabilities can be indispensable. And we do have some pre-heresy Luna Wolves for the... Wow, look at their bolters. They look different. Some pre-heresy Luna Wolves scheme for these Space Marines. Alright, it's been a while since I've been able to cast a 1v1 game. I'm glad to have one because I love 1v1s. We've got the Tax standing in the yellow covered barrels, although I think they actually exposed themselves and are no longer in cover. A heal goes down from Cheeky Monkie, but right after he lost that model. So unfortunately, this engagement definitely not going to go in his favor. Just a little too much firepower from the combined damage of the two guardsmen as well as the Sentinel. And now the Sentinel chasing down. Tax actually take cover in the building, which will give them a huge defensive benefit. But they're still not exactly going to outshoot any of the things in here. Actually get another heal from the Apothecary while inside the building. And we have a second Sentinel harassing some capping scouts as well. So this matchup right here, let's see. We've got the Imperial Guard versus the Space Marines. I imagine that it favors the Space Marines. Imperial Guard, somewhat tough to play in 1v1. Definitely have a lot of not-so-good matchups. Some matchups that are quite a bit worse than not-so-good. I wouldn't say Space Marines are the worst of the Imperial Guard matchups, but I'm sure there are still some things about this matchup that can be very, very challenging. However, Imperial Guard definitely still, regardless of whether or not they have challenging matchups, they are definitely still a perfectly viable race. They are tournament proven. Tournaments have been won with Imperial Guard. There are strategies that they can use to, well, pull out the victory against any race. And some of them are hard to pull off, but ultimately Imperial Guard can still work. Now, Dual Sentinels is definitely one of those strategies that goes a long way toward making the Imperial Guard work in 1v1, or in general, really. Dual Sentinels is a very, very powerful build. It's also a build that is tough to manage because you really need to micro your Sentinel, make sure you don't leave it in a bad position where it will get taken out prematurely. You really need them to last throughout at least Tier 1 for this to work, as well as not just have them last, but have them inflict bleed while having the effect of reducing the bleed of the Imperial Guard player. So normally Double Scouts aren't a terribly common build for Space Marines against Imperial Guard. However, Scout Snipers have recently been changed along with Rangers so that they fire more often but do a little bit less damage per shot. This was a change that was made to really rework the Snipers, to sort of soften their impact in some of the matchups where they're perhaps a little too strong, where they just do a little too much damage per shot, while at the same time opening their use up more in the matchups where they aren't as commonly used. And Imperial Guard is one of those matchups where sniper units, or at least scout snipers, are not as commonly used because they're just a little too slow firing against the squads like guardsmen. So they should be a little bit better against squads like that. I think the scouts here are pushing their luck a little bit. It says they are in green cover, but they still appear to be taking a lot of damage, so maybe that model that was on the outside that went down was not in the green cover, and only these two that were left were. Right now, map control, though, is pretty even. If anything, I would say Virus may be having a slight advantage, although, yeah, he does have the VPs. He does have a noted contested power farm, and he's got a full power farm to Cheeky Monkie's not full power farm. and Cheeky Monkey actually going with a pretty long Tier 1 build. Now, another reason why double scouts aren't as common against Imperial Guard as other races is that at least scouts with bolters usually aren't going to be that strong in firefights in this matchup, because pretty much any other unit they're going to face off against in Tier 1, they're not going to be very successful against. Bolter scouts would not only lose, but get severely outbled by guards and squads, as well as the Sentinel, of course. So normally double tack play can actually be a thing in this matchup. Double tack's not too terribly common, but sometimes it actually does happen in this matchup. I feel like this Sentinel in an extremely bad position. Yeah, it's not going to get out of there alive. So, as I said, you want to keep those Sentinels alive throughout Tier 1, and unfortunately that one very, very quickly went down, was caught way out of position, and did not react fast enough. So I think that's a pretty good victory for Cheeky Monkey. It means he's pushing forward. He's now going to get a Generator Bash, although on the good side for Virus is the fact that he's already going to Tier 2, and he's got a lot of resources in the bank. So one of the other good things about the Imperial Guard opening that can work to your advantage is that it can be very, very cheap. Virus only got 2 squads of Guardsmen and 2 Sentinels. That's actually pretty cheap on requisition. Spent very, very little power. He does not have the stomp on the Sentinel that I'm targeting right now. I'm guessing he didn't have the stomp on the Sentinel that went down. And he just has a Flamer on 1 squad of Guardsmen, so that looks like his only power purchase. And he had the generators down faster than Cheeky Monkey. Now, Virus is in Tier 2. If he gets a Chimera now, that would actually do a lot to help him push back and regain the field. Instead, he's going for a Manticore, which at first I was going to say is a curious purchase, but with double Devastators out on the field, it's actually not a very curious purchase at all. Although I still feel like maybe the Chimera first would have been a bit better. We do have Vengeance Rounds as a soft counter to a Chimera that could come out. But basically, as good as the Manticore is going to be against the double suppression teams, it doesn't give Virus much more field presence than he already has. It gives him no extra field presence, in fact. Whereas the Chimera would boost his field presence by quite a bit. He just wouldn't have that hard counter to the Devastator Marines. And I guess maybe because there are 2 squads of Devastators, even if he gets around 1, the other one could really limit the effectiveness of the Chimera. Because even though a heavy bolter Devastator isn't going to do... Oh, and the other Sentinel goes down as well to those Vengeance Rounds Devastators. So Vengeance Rounds are pretty strong. And meanwhile, a Manticore Strike went down on this squad of Devastators. But, oh, and a heavy turret. Wow.
Roger, sir.
So even though the Manticore went down on that squad of Devastators, it didn't actually inflict any bleed. Let alone... I mean... A well-placed Manticore Strike can actually kill a Devastator squad from full health. By extension, it can also kill a Havoc squad from full health, and probably also a Shuriken Cannon. The missiles do need to be placed just right. In that case, it didn't even take out a model. I think only 1 missile hit. So... Virus with a tech lead, so he drops a heavy turret instead, and that's, in a way, this thinking to that is similar to the Chimera. The heavy turret does have vehicle armor, so for now, Cheeky Monkey has no answer whatsoever to that. Anyway, Manticore Strike goes down, and the new Sniper Scouts actually appear to be doing pretty well against Guardsmen. Alright, at this point, Cheeky Monkey has actually taken in the lead in VPs. I think the push that he had with taking out one of the Sentinels and then making a push for the power with his 5 squads to... Well, now that I say 5 squads, it makes me wonder what happened to Cheeky Monkey's tax. Maybe that was the trade he was talking about and I totally missed it? Oh, that was pretty bad. I should have caught that. But anyway, let's move on. One of the things I see that Cheeky Monkey has here, he's getting a Librarian. He's getting a Librarian, already upgrading to the Tome of Time as well as the Psychic Hood. I recently watched the cast on Indrid's channel where Cheeky Monkey played, and he had some very, very nice Librarian play in combination with his Devastators as well as Assault Marines. So the Librarian does synergize very, very well with Devastators because he does have the Tome of Time ability, it increases the speed of a unit and also allows setup teams to not have setup or teardown time. So if you do get a build like double Devastators, you probably should get a Librarian. Generally, I feel like the Librarian is not that commonly seen. I think one of the reasons, to be honest, is that I actually feel using the Librarian in combination with Devastators is actually one of the more challenging micro-intensive plays that you can use with Space Marines. And I feel like maybe people don't get it just because it's a little bit harder to pull off than, say, just getting an Assault Cannon Dreadnought and having that firepower. Because both you need to cast the Tome of Time and then you need to manage the positioning of your Devastators, really using them to their maximum effectiveness. And what I saw in that replay of Cheeky Monkey using the Tome of Time is that he was really pretty much using the Tome of Time as much as he could. If it wasn't on cooldown, he was casting it on something, which is, again, just very, very crucial and a good example of how to use, basically of how to use that. We have some late-game Assault Marines, which he might also use in combination with the Tome of Time. We do have the Assault Marines, since they are the pre-Heresy Luna Wolves. They have those silly-looking old jetpacks. But Virus now holding on to a double cap, courtesy of that heavy turret, and he's been managing to really intercept the Las Cannon Devastator that would be Cheeky Monkey's main answer to that heavy turret. Heavy turret is pretty awesome. Obviously, very, very situational. Any of the defensive buildings in this game are extremely, extremely situational because if you don't hold your position correctly, it will generally get taken out. And the heavy turret being one of the more expensive, if not the most expensive, defensive building, you really want to be able to hold it. And so far, this heavy turret is doing very, very well. Its position has been held. It's holding. He's using it to maintain a double cap. Now he needs to get here in time to intercept the Devastator Marines. He's got some flanking guardsmen. Las Cannon not even taking a shot, maybe doesn't even have sight, and loses a model and is now out of range of the heavy turret. Now, one of the great things about the heavy turret is that it is anti-all. It just does damage to everything. It's a grenade. Blind grenade, wow. But anyway, the heavy turret does damage to everything. It's good against infantry, it's good against, oh no. Unfortunately, that Manticore Strike should have been used on the Devastator Marines, because I think if he had used it on the Devastator Marines, he would have kept his turret alive. Instead, he went for the Librarian with that Manticore Strike, so he's going to lose the heavy turret, unfortunately. Again, heavy turret, pretty expensive, so it did him well enough. I think he at least justified its cost. But he could have held it longer if he had used that Manticore Strike on the Devastator Marines. I don't know if maybe he didn't have sight on them. But, yeah, otherwise, a big loss to lose that heavy turret right there. Just one missile probably could have turned the tide of that and sent those Devastator Marines packing home. But it's still a little bit tough with Virus, again, definitely not having as much field presence as Cheeky Monkey, and we're seeing it. Cheeky Monkey has 6 squads now. One of them is, I guess, the Librarian is not a squad, and he does have his single entity hero. There goes another Manticore Strike, but a very, very nice Gate of Infinity ability from the Librarian. They still get hit by one. To really dodge most of the damage from that Manticore Strike. Very, very well done. So the Gate of Infinity ability is an ability that it basically functions like the Warp Global for the Chaos Sorcerer. And of course, a Chaos Sorcerer is a Chaos Librarian. And it just teleports a targeted squad or unit to the Librarian. And I think originally that has been mostly used on Terminators as a way to get them out of trouble if their teleport is on cooldown, but lately, from what I've seen in like the past year, probably not as much as a year, maybe the past 6 months, are just expansions on ways to use the Gate of Infinity, using it on Devastators, really using it on any unit to save them from trouble. Sometimes using it on Devastators is a way to adjust their positioning so that you can teleport them right into maybe a las cannon targeting a vehicle, or even a setup team going for something. But Virus is having, I think, a little bit more trouble staying out on field. He is getting pushed in right now, pushed home. He does have some idling Ogrins that should be capturing the point because he is running low on VPs.
Reinforcements are here. Happy to be of service, sir. A victory point is slipping away.
So, yeah, Virus actually now very, very much getting backed into a corner, getting very, very low on VPs. Cheeky Monkie possibly about to threaten a... Oh, well, he's got a single cap. I thought he was going to get a triple cap, but then I realized it was Virus's units right here that are capturing the natural. So actually the VPs will be evened out at 1-to-1 very soon, with Cheeky Monkie with over a 200-point VP lead. So Sniper's still alive. Both of them only level 1. Oh, gotta be very... And one of them actually gets taken out to the long-range burst damage of the Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers, of course, do have extended range, so they do very, very well against things at long range. I don't entirely know where I was going with that. Anyways, and the Stormtrooper's gonna open fire again on the scouts. But both players now in Tier 3. I did not even notice that they were that far into the game. I mean, I guess the... Yeah, I don't know. But they're that far into the game. Anyway, we see fully upgraded Apothecary right now, customized Stormbolter, combat stimulants, and the improved medical equipment. So this is an interesting build. It is a spell casting build, because with this build, he's going to have 3 abilities. He's going to have combat stimulants, full auto, and of course his heal. So he's getting the improved medical equipment to help synergize with those first 2 war gears, because without the improved medical equipment, he won't really have as much access to his spells, because he'll use one spell and then he'll need to wait to have energy to use the others. Meanwhile, now he's got a lot of versatility because he can heal, he can do damage from long range, he can disrupt single entities with full auto, and he has a damage boost ability, combat stimulants. That's like having For the Emperor, except it's an ability for your Apothecary that costs no red. Anyway, Devastator Marines here getting way overextended. Devastator Marines, I think, really need to go, but they get taken out by, I think, the Lord General's sniper rifle. So Cheeky Monkie now suffering quite a bit of losses, but this is proving to not be a great Lehman Rust drop for Virus, and I think he pretty much had to use that creeping barrage to save it. Now, Virus is actually the one putting on a huge amount of pressure. Manticore in base, Ogrins in base. Ogrins are going to get suppressed, though, unless we have a Lord General with the anti-suppression armor, which he does not. I think the Lehman Rust might still want to move back. It's bashing generators. Going to get it some easy experience, as well as quickly just bash the power. But now, oh, Assault Marines jump in, but they do not have enough energy to do a Melt-A-Bomb. Virus being incredibly, incredibly oppressive right now. I think maybe it would help, though, if he had something to go maybe capture this VP, because that could do a lot to give him, to put him back in the game. He's got guardsmen that are full health in base. Probably could have gone out sooner, but I think he just has his attention focused so much over here that he wasn't really doing much with his guardsmen. So Flamer Guardsman going to go to intercept the Sniper Scouts from capping. He does not want to give up that cap. Certainly does not want it to turn into a cap for Cheeky Monkie, because he doesn't have that many VPs left to give up. Assault Marines now buffed with, they are buffed with the Tome of Time ability, or the Veil of Time ability from the Tome of Time War Gear, allowing them to rush into those Imperial Guardsmen, tank just a little bit of plasma damage, although, ooh, they retreated, and I think that was a summary execution to keep them out on the field. Now they're going to start taking plasma damage, but we have another... Wow, how fast is the cooldown on that? Anyway, wow, a Manticore strike right in the middle here, and even And, oh, so what we saw was some response with Angels of Death to prevent the knockback. I don't think he's going to be able to... He's pushing hard to try to finish off this Lehman Russ with the... with the Assault Marines. Wow, I didn't realize Cheeky Monkie has lost most of his squads. Probably doing a Terminator drop right here, but I think that's somewhat ill-advised because he's now has Terminators that are unsupported, and although they will, well, they will win against the Lord General, they do want to be really careful about getting in melee with the Ogrins, but the Ogrins actually get forced off. But yeah, Terminators right now unsupported. Started building a Predator tank, I believe, and canceled that. Needs to be very, very careful, though. Terminators, alright, Terminators now not as unsupported. Support has come for them, but they are taking some damage from the Stormtroopers. Lehman Russ is going to need some repairs, so where are the Guardsmen for the repairs on that? Here is a Manticore Strike, and we have another Tome of Time on the Terminators, or Veil of Time, rather, allowing them to avoid much of the damage from that Manticore Strike without having to use their teleport. Now the Terminators teleport, I guess, seeing the Lord General trying to go for the bat cap on the natural VP for Cheeky Monkie, but he intercepts it, although he intercepted it, but then that actually left the middle open, and now he can actually... now Virus can get in here and capture the middle. Does not actually get the decap off, so VP's now really, really ticking down against them. We've got the Terminators. They should be focusing on the Guardsmen to whittle down their health, and we do have also Ogrins now charging in, knocking over the Vanguard Veterans. So we should probably want to see a heal on the Vanguard Veterans. Instead, they jump forward. They still have all four of their models. That Apothecary is way back here, and instead the Librarian is going to go in for melee combat with the Ogrins. A little bit risky, even though the Ogrins don't have that much health left. The Librarian just really needs to be careful about getting overwhelmed by the Ogrins. Instead, it looks like maybe he can even take out a model. Where are they going? They're going back. And he does take out one model. Can he take out another one? I don't think so. Manticore Strike goes in and misses everything again, but does scare off the Assault... The Vanguard... Whoa, look at these Vanguard Veterans. I have never seen these Luna Wolves Vanguard Veterans before, only with a single engine jump pack. And not looking too fancy, to be honest. They look very, very primitive. Why did they only get a single engine jump pack while the regular Assault Marines get a double engine? Anyway, another Lehman Russ, another one airdropped. Virus with now a massive amount of power. He could actually... I mean, I guess... He could actually build those Lehman Russes in base with all the power that he had instead. And wow, look at Virus's requisition income. Plus 118. He's got nothing. But I feel like he could have used the power to actually just get those Lehman Russes at base. But I guess the advantage of still calling them in is that you get them right out on the field, no build time. I guess just the disadvantage of that is that he could have used the red that he had used for calling down these Lehman Russes on creeping barrages or on a rocket run. And those are definitely things that could give him certain, well, just give him different options late game. As it is, he definitely won't have, he's probably not going to have the rocket run as an option in this game, and he won't have as many opportunities for a creeping barrage. He might, at some point later on the game, be able to get enough red for one creeping barrage, maybe two if he's really, really lucky, but I doubt it against an Apothecary. If anything, he would be relying more on bleeding, on his own models bleeding than Space Marine models bleeding. Guardsmen right here get hit by a smite. I was going to say a snipe. But the smite actually seemed a little cut short. I don't know why. Anyway, Guardsmen, oh my god, they need to get out of there. He's either forgotten about them or just dropping his micro. We saw the little exclamation point come right up at the end. I don't know, maybe some panic play. Or, I have no idea. As it is, it says he has a 95 population. And we have a las cannon Predator trying to go in against the Lehman Russ to take it down, basically. If anything, maybe now the Lehman Russ is going to push in for the Manticore. Oh, very nice Manticore Strike goes in, scares off the Predator a little bit. I think maybe if he had some kind of support to stall the Ogrins or stop the Ogrins, he could have run that Predator tank in to finish off the Manticore. But as it is, the Predator tank does seem to be in a little bit of trouble, getting shot down by 2 Leman Russes. And the Leman Russes, although right now they do not have their Vanquisher cannon, there are 2 of them, and they had more health than that Predator tank. And they do have that damage resistance, so the Predator tank goes down. While the Lemans are still quite healthy.
Message received.
Anyway, 1 Leman Russ, and now going for the Executioner Cannon. Executioner Cannon is a close-range plasma cannon, a rapid-firing close-range plasma cannon for the Leman Russ.
We hear you. Go ahead.
Anyway, double cap for Virus, actually now going to threaten a triple cap, and that's exactly what he needs to get back into this game. Tough things to manage for Virus, though. Yeah, he's retreating his Ogrins because he really wants them to restore their health with the way his resources are looking right now, he really does not want to have to reinforce his Ogrins, so he's going to have to use them real well. Same thing with his Stormtroopers. I'd say pretty much save the reinforcements for the Guardsmen. Well, actually, no, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe he should save the reinforcements for the Ogrins and the Stormtroopers. I'm not even sure. But either way, the point is he does not have a whole lot of resources for reinforcing, so he needs to be very careful about his model losses. But Apothecary is showing off some of that staying power. Healed the Vanguard veterans. They're taking shots from the Leman Russ, but they're still alive. Here we go with the Devastator Marines. I think they have Veil of Time activated on them, even though the effect wasn't being shown. Yeah, because they did not set up. But they're taking so much damage. Librarian needs to get out of there. We have a Cyclone missile launcher. Does not manage to finish off the Leman Russ, but pretty close to it. Oh, and the Leman Russ does go down now. Alright, so 1 Leman Russ down, the other one's still around. The Leman Russ that's still around just has the default battle cannon, which I actually really like the default battle cannon on the Leman Russ. I think it's great, to be honest. Oh, and this is going to hurt Virus a lot. Alright, loses Ogrins. He's actually going hard to finish the Ogrins. Wow, finishes the Ogrins. Very nice play by Cheeky Monkey. Cheeky Monkey, I was going to say, he might want to start capturing, but the Terminators are don't have a whole lot of health. And Virus is coming back out here. He's answering back. There is an Apothecary in his bunker, and I don't actually... Oh, he's got a grenade. But he's infiltrating, so he won't have the energy to throw the grenade because he's infiltrating. So instead, he might just try to destroy the bunker. Because that was what he had to... Oh, he's going to use a Manticore Strike, which will kill the building and... Well... The Apothecary actually doesn't die. So double cap for Virus. How much longer can he hold on, though? He does have more resources. I wonder if he's even going to save up enough requisition to drop down another Leman Russ. He could theoretically do that. There's another example of that very nice Veil of Time play. But, so the... Oh, not Veil of Time. I mean the Psychic Hood play. Man, I forget. But the Devastator goes down. Let's quickly check the Librarian. Librarian is... Yeah, alright. Gate of Infinity. Anyway, double cap now for Virus. Gonna send his Lord General over to try to make it a triple. The Vanguard's level 3, though. The Vanguards have been doing very well. Terminators do not level, but I bet they've gotten a bunch of kills as well. We have new Devastator Marines out for Cheeky Monkey. I think a pretty obvious purchase. He needs that anti-vehicle. He needs that las cannon. Might even want to consider getting another one. Meanwhile, we've got Castricans coming out for Virus. Extremely powerful Tier 3 squad for the Imperial Guard introduced in the Elite mod. Perhaps slightly too powerful. They start out with the same range as assault kit stormtroopers, do even more damage. Extremely, extremely powerful. Lord General manages to not die, was saved by a Manticore strike. Vanguard veterans jumping in. I'm sure he's going to come in, make sure he has a heal ready for those Vanguard veterans so that they can keep on attacking. And we do have infiltrated capping scouts. And somehow the Lord General died. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, Apothecary, I feel like it's time for that heal, but it's probably on cooldown, so he's actually switching war gears because he decides he wants to heal more often than use combat stimulants. And this push is looking like Cheeky Monkie has this in the bag. Cyclone missile launcher barrage takes out the Manticore. Now Power Fist are opening up on the Leman Russ, as well as Las Cannon setting up right. What? Oh, okay. I don't know. At this point, I think Virus might be done with the Las Cannon setting up right in front of the face of the Leman Russ. Although it's also taking so much damage that it's dying. But I think this Leman Russ will go down to the combined melee damage of the Vanguard veterans and the Terminators. There it does. That has to be it. Cheeky Monkie already calling a GG. He's actually getting a decap on Virus's natural, so that is undoubtedly going to be the game in his favor. Terminators walking over dead vehicle husks just for fun. And he's just going to stand in front of the base. Alright, victory goes to Cheeky Monkie. Quite a good game. Hope you enjoyed this one. As always, have a good night.